Right now, thousands of spacecraft are flying above you. You cannot see them. They can see you. Your phone may be talking to a dozen or more of them this very second. Banking, weather, GPS, messages, all passing through space. Your forecast, your alarm, your morning call, all routed through orbit. 4 jobs satellites do: talk, watch, navigate, time the world. No single satellite tells every device on Earth where it stands. It takes a whole constellation working together. Another watches storms before they reach the coast. Another times every bank transfer to a billionth of a second. They orbit Earth across 3 main altitude bands. 80% crowd the lowest shell just above the sky. Medium and geostationary orbits hold the rest, much higher up. In 1957, there was just one. Today, thousands of satellites and still climbing. For decades, the count climbed slowly. Then it exploded. After 2019, the launches never stopped. They fall into 4 categories: comms, observation, navigation, science. Comms satellites carry calls between continents. Observation satellites map the planet, strip by strip. Navigation satellites cover virtually every part of Earth's surface. Science satellites turn outward, mapping the rest of the universe. Low orbit is the busiest highway humans ever built. But how does one tiny machine actually know where you are? The answer lives in geometry, light, and atomic time. Every device begins with one question: where am I? 3 known points in space can define one point on Earth. 3 distance measurements pinpoint you within meters. It is called trilateration, the geometry of distance. But 3 is not enough. You also need to know the time. So GPS needs 4 satellites: 3 for place, 1 for time. Because in space, time is how you measure distance. Light's travel time becomes a ruler across space. Position without time is meaningless. Modern GPS measures time in billionths of a second. To measure that, you need a clock that almost never lies. Every navigation satellite carries an atomic clock in its heart. Inside each one, a cesium oscillator ticks for years. A cesium atom vibrates over 9 billion times each second. That perfectly regular tick defines the modern second. But out in orbit, time itself runs differently. Gravity bends time. Einstein wrote it down in 1915. Higher up, time speeds up. Faster motion slows it down. Satellites experience time differently than you do. Their clocks gain 38 microseconds every single day. Uncorrected, GPS could drift several kilometers in a single day. 1 nanosecond of error equals 30 centimeters of distance. 4 satellites, 4 atomic clocks, 1 precise location. But GPS is just one network. Look how many there are now. One private network alone has launched over 5,000 satellites. Together, they beam broadband from space to almost every continent. On clear nights, you can see them, a moving train of light. They go up in stacks of 60 every single week. Anyone outside at the right moment can watch them pass. Another constellation uses just 66 satellites to cover the entire planet. Iridium, 66 satellites covering even the poles. From the deep ocean to the South Pole, they reach everywhere. OneWeb, Amazon's Kuiper, China's Guowang, all racing for orbit. More satellites went up in recent years than in many previous decades combined. In 1975, a new nation launched its first satellite, Aryabhata. Then Mangalyaan reached Mars in 2014. And Chandrayaan-3 landed near the Moon's South Pole in 2023. Your ancestors mapped stars. you can now see your country's satellites. But with more traffic come more close calls. Every working satellite must navigate the risk of debris encounters throughout its operational life. A burn of thrusters a few centimeters per second, and disaster avoided. In 2021, one weapons test shattered a single satellite. It scattered hundreds of trackable fragments into low orbit. Each fragment now threatens every working satellite for decades. Scientists call this cascade risk, Kessler syndrome. One collision can trigger thousands more. And someday, that cascade could lock us out of orbit entirely. But who is paying for all of this, and what does it do for us? Every stock trade carries a satellite timestamp. NYSE and NASDAQ sync to orbital clocks every microsecond. Without orbit, global markets would lose their order. Farmers now plant fields by satellite, centimeter by centimeter. In Iowa, an entire cornfield is mapped from orbit. The machine steers itself, listening to a constellation above. Above the ocean, a storm is being born. Geostationary satellites watch hurricanes form days before landfall. Days of warning, millions of lives saved. From orbit, we now measure our own carbon and methane. Laser altimeters watch ice sheets thinning in real time. What we once sketched by hand, satellites now measure live. The same question, asked across 2 centuries of instruments. When the ground breaks, orbit is the first eye on scene. Before and after, instantly available to every rescue team. Rescuers route by satellite map within the first hour. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year now rides on orbit. An entire economy rebuilt on a signal you cannot see. Most of this happens without you ever noticing. Inside every receiver, a silent conversation with the sky. Every forecast, every map, every text touches orbit. We built a quiet skin of services around our planet. Now, step back, far back, see what we have become. What does all of this mean when you finally stop and look? In 1990, a spacecraft turned and photographed home. From 6 billion kilometers, Earth was a single blue pixel. Everything you have ever known fits on that dot. Carl Sagan called it everyone you have ever loved. Every word ever spoken, now visible only because of satellites. Astronauts' return changed. They call it the overview effect. From up here, the borders simply vanish. Once you see it, you cannot unsee what we are. It changes the answer to every question that follows. Switch the satellites off, and modern life simply stops. Banking, weather, navigation, power, all fall silent at once. Switch them on, and we become one planet talking to itself. Each cell turns sunlight into civilization. Every culture has looked up and named what it saw. The Saptarishi, the Pleiades, Orion, different cultures, different names, but often the same stars. Every culture mapped its constellations. We are still drawing ours. Tonight, a fresh line of lights crosses the dawn sky. We are still making constellations. Only now they move. Look up tonight. Some of those lights are us. One species, one sky, one quiet conversation finally heard. But the sky we built is starting to fill up. And between the stars, 5,000 collisions waiting to happen. Next episode, the orbital debris crisis no one is solving. Space Decoded. Watch the next chapter and subscribe.